multiple people have asked for a recording where I show the Breezy. The Breezy is basically a Super Cub. It was built by a gentleman named Mike Butterfield at Yakima Aerosports. It was his prototype for what he calls a Super Breezy. It's a Super Cub wing, including flaps. Most Breezys don't have flaps. We'll put the flaps down. You can see the flaps. So it's a Super Cub wing, Super Cub main landing gear, tri-pacer nose wheel. It's set up for 2,000 pounds gross weight. It's set up to fly at night. I have landing and taxi lights and position lights and strobes. I'll turn those on a little later and show you that. You can see that the tail is pure stock Super Cub. So it's a stock Super Cub rudder, elevator, vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer. It's got a Lycoming IO 360 with a Kato carbon fiber prop on it. When I first got it, it had this weird 5-blade thing that buzzed like 10,000 nasty hornets. So one of the first changes I made was to put the Kato prop on it. You'll notice that at the pilot flies from the rear and the passenger sits in the front. You can see that I've got places to mount rudder pedals and a spot to put a stick in the front if I want dual controls. I took those out because most passengers didn't like bumping them. It felt uncomfortable. The seat belts are standard racing style hook prong. It's got heel brakes like a Super Cub. Put the flaps back down. Standard Super Cub stick. IO 360 engine, really pretty easy to work on. You can see the ELT is there, the battery's there. Everything's easy to get to. We've got 2 fuel tanks, 18 gallons on each side. You can see the vents sticking up. I've got something cool, the GoPro video. Hey, the wing has a USB outlet that powers the GoPro. So how many wings do you know that have a USB outlet? And like all Super Cubs, you can see that it's fabric covered, not aluminum. Here is my small baggage compartment. A little later I will show you the big baggage compartment, but it carabinered in to those 4 eyes at the corner. Again, you can see the steel plates up front. The passenger sits way out front, so they change the CG a lot. When I'm flying solo, I have to add more plates, and when I'm flying somebody more than 200 pounds, I have to take those plates off to keep the CG centered. A little later, I'll show you the paperwork I use to keep track of the CG. You can see that up front, you can see my pitot static tube. You can also see my tow bar. It's built right in. You just grab that and you pull on that for the tow bar. It lets you steer and you can pull the airplane. You can see that the landing lights are on and the strobe lights are on. The landing lights will go into wig-wag mode where they flip back and forth left and right, but I usually don't run those unless I'm in a high traffic area, because if you have those on at night, they're a little hard to access. It's behind the seat, and so yeah. The tail light doesn't look like it's lit. Something's wrong. It's probably a ground. I bump it, it comes on. It's not bright enough. So I'll have to, there's something on the repair list. There's always squawks. The airplane is kind of dirty right now because it's been sitting all winter. I'm just starting to fly it again, and I haven't taken it to the place to get it washed. As I said, standard Lycoming IO360, standard fuel selector valve from a Super Cub. The instruments, you can see the instruments on the airplane. We'll go through them here. Oops, doesn't look like I got a good. All right. I was trying to video that and talk, and I failed. Okay, we got EGT, fuel quantity, manifold pressure, RPM, more EGT, CHT, oil pressure, oil temperature, and fuel quantity gauges on the bottom. I've got a G5, a 760 Garmin GPS. Yeah, you can't really see the picture. I've got a radio and a transponder made by Trig, an intercom system with push to talk, and a GFC 500 3-axis autopilot. I also have the black box there as a GDL51 that gives me ADS-B in and out. I've bought the airplane with 115 hours on it, and it's got 584. So I've got almost 500 hours in the airplane. I have things like there's a power plug to give me 12-volt heated suit. And that's about it for the first tour. And here's some more. All right, we're going to look at the paperwork in the airplane. So this is where the airworthiness certificate and the weight and balance data all appears. And so if we look here, you can see that for weight and balance, I have pre-computed 5 states. All the plates on and off. And you can look up the pilot weight and the passenger, the maximum and minimum passenger weight to be in CG for each of those things in each of the 5 states. There are 2 states on the back of the airplane, so no front plates or all front plates or all plates on rear, i.e. the plates can either be left on the ground or bolted in the back of the airplane, and it changes the CG and gross weight calculations. So that's how I know how much weight I can carry. And if you look, here are some more states, the normal operation states. So that's my weight and balance document for this airplane. So again, I look up the pilot weight and the max and min passenger weight, and these are pre-calculated for both full and empty tanks. All right, we got mixture, throttle. That's the elevator trim. Back here is the AUX fuel pump for the IO360. On this, we have autopilot disconnect, push to talk, and on the other side, we have intercom push to talk. So if the intercom squelch is turned down, it doesn't work unless you hit push to talk. And there is the button for the passenger push to talk. Pre-flight's easy. You basically check the oil there, drain fuel from the 2 wing tanks or the sump. Again, all Super Cub parts. You know, look at all the control pivots. Everything's on the outside. It's easy to see. Look for loose screws, nuts, and bolts. Examine the propeller for nicks. If you lose anything from the front, or you drop a bolt or a screw, it goes through the prop, and that needs to be checked every flight to make sure you don't have a delaminating problem. It's got a standard Super Cub flying or adjustable stabilizer for a stabilizer trim. This is my secondary baggage compartment. I showed you the other one earlier, but if I'm traveling and carrying stuff, that's my baggage compartment right there. It carabiners down on both ends. I can stuff a lot of stuff in there. It's pretty rugged. It's waterproof. That's it.